Hi, I'm Teryn and welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, if you're new, I make a lot of skincare focused beauty content as well as fashion and life content. If that interests you, please be sure to check out my other videos, like this video, and subscribe. So this is going to be one of my last job and career related videos for a while. The summer is winding down. The sun is disappearing. We need to have a bit more fun and not dwell on the negatives. But I wanted to talk about quiet firing because I already talked about quiet quitting. So when I first saw quiet firing on LinkedIn, I felt somewhat validated because a lot of people experience this, but they don't talk about it. And honestly, I thought about quiet firing because I was like, to me, that's the true issue instead of quiet quitting. But I just didn't have it into that type of term. This was posted by Bonnie Dilber, and she says, the quiet quitting thing is funny to me. I think the real conversation should be around quiet firing as it's rampant. You don't receive feedback or praise. You get raises of 3% or less while others are getting much more. Your one-on-ones are frequently canceled or shuffled around. You don't get invited to work on cool projects or stretch opportunities. You're not kept up to date on the information that is relevant or critical to your work. Your manager never talks to you about your career trajectory. This happens all the time. It works great for companies. Eventually, you'll either feel so incompetent, isolated, and unappreciated that you'll go find a new job and they never have to deal with a development plan or offer severance, or your performance will slip enough due to the lack of support that they'll be able to let you go. Instead of worrying about quiet quitting, I encourage companies to look at their management practices and identify places where people are being quiet fired by poor managers who don't want to do the work to support, train, and coach their teams. I've definitely experienced quiet firing before, and I'm also really appreciative of the fact that so many people have been open and honest about their experiences in the workplace, both positive and negative. There was also a person on TikTok that spoke about workplace mobbing, and I'll link that in the description box as well. So I'll just tell you a bit about my experience. So one thing that I think could also be added to this ways that people quiet fire you is to make you try to accomplish impossible tasks. So at this job, one of my tasks was to help grow the business. And so my area was in development and design, trying to grow the business through design and product development. I would put forth ideas on how to increase our product line, how to put more time and effort into the company's actual brand instead of the brand that they made the products for, which was like a bigger name brand. So I bring forth ideas, and the feedback that I would always get was that we don't have enough people in order to produce this. So I was definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place because what else did you want me to do? So I would take it upon myself to come up with ideas on how to help grow the business internally, meaning how do we add more employees for us to grow the business? Because truth be told, it was a manufacturing company. That's really the main way for you to grow the business. There were talks about adding different machinery, but if you know anything about fashion, sewing, you cannot replace people with machines. So that was just not feasible. I would come up with really great ideas on how to add more employees to the company. And of course, those would get knocked down as well. So to me, like, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the HR person that they hired to help grow the business. A lot of the people that this person would have come in would be here today, gone tomorrow. I thought the plan I came up was really great. I thought it was feasible. I thought it was something that could be implemented to help grow it. I'm realizing that there's nothing I can do to help grow this business because they don't want me to help grow the business, basically. So that's how I kind of realized I was being quiet fired. Another thing that you should look out for if you think you're being quiet fired is receiving contradicting feedback. It could be about your personality. It could be about your work ethic. So for instance, you might be told that you're standoffish, but then you also might be told that you talk too much and you need to just focus on your work. So you might be seen as standoffish because you are focusing on your work, but you might be just having normal conversations with your coworkers. That's not the best example, but basically what I'm trying to say is that your manager might just be making up things. They might be trying to make up things or just try to make you feel unstable so that you will try to leave. The last example that I would give is being held to a higher standard than your other coworkers, especially those that are on your level. An example that I have of this was one time I had a coworker that was going out of town. I didn't know this. So they come up to my car during lunch and they're like, hey, I'm about to leave for a few days. Do you need anything before I leave? I'm about to head out. I said no, because what do you want me to do? Like, you want me to make you miss your flight. Just keep that in mind. So one time I was headed out, I put it on the calendar. I mentioned it before. I leave to go wherever I was going, just taking some time off, which I rarely did. Why do I get called into a meeting that's like, hey, did you let so-and-so know before you were leaving? Did you ask them if they need anything? Yes. But and I also gave them that advance before I left, like not the day of, not 2 seconds before I'm leaving. But that's just another example of just being held to a higher standard than the rest of your coworkers. The best way to try to alleviate this issue and try to prevent this, or being stuck with maybe getting laid off or fired or feeling like you have to leave this job, is just to always apply for jobs. And that's easier said than done. Applying for jobs is a full-time job, especially if you're actively trying to leave. Making sure that your LinkedIn is great, making sure that you're networking constantly, even if it's not really about jobs, maybe just networking within your industry, I think it's super helpful. And just making sure that you stay on top of things and keep your resume updated. Make sure you keep a log of your accomplishments at work and then definitely reflect on that, especially if you're feeling down on yourself. Keep a log of how you overcame certain obstacles. Like maybe you did mess up on something, but how did you overcome that? How did you fix that? I think that's super important, especially because we spend so much of our time at work. It's important to make sure that we don't feel like we're just drowning in it and that we're actually doing good work. Overall, I was really glad to have seen this on LinkedIn of all places. I felt like that was the perfect platform to put out that message. I think that people don't talk about the negatives of work, and personally, I'm not going to be talking about the negatives of work for a long time. Let's just really just like focus on the positive. If you are job searching, good luck. I wish the greatest pay, the best benefits, the best work-life balance for you. Everything you want and need in a job, I hope you're able to obtain in that job. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And as always, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment for more videos. Thank you again.